All right, everybody, welcome to Boss Chick Radio. I'm Simone Sobers, creator of the Boss Chick Dance Workout, Twerk Body Hit. I'm a mom, I'm a fiance, and I'm a pretty awesome Black woman. Hey, Black History Month, let's go. So, this is our second official episode since our launch. And the first episode was very well received. Thank you guys for streaming it so much on YouTube. So for those of you who are only tuning in through Apple Podcasts, we have the video version of Boss Chick Radio available on our YouTube, Boss Chick Dance Workout. So you can get the visuals and you can see the twerk tutorials when we do those at the end of every session. So, happy Galentine's Day. Yes, day before Valentine's Days. Galentine's just for the girls. The girls. So, just to start off, let's check in with what's going on with our network news. What's going on in Boss Chick world. We have our Galentine's twerkout tonight. Our special Galentine's twerkout is happening at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you're tuned in and you would like a link to access the twerkout for free, just send us a DM at Boss Chick Dance Workout anytime between now and about 6:15, and we'll send over a link so you can tune in to our special Bad Galentine's twerkout. It will be Afrobeat, soca, dance hall, super fun, just 30 minutes. It's part of our Twerk to Transform challenge that's happening all month long. So if you want to sweat a little bit tonight, twerk something, shake something off, release some stress, then send us a DM and we will send you the link. Okay, other than that, let's go ahead and jump right in to our topics for today. All right, so let's talk twerk. I've been shouting out different twerk creatives in the industry, giving them a shout out. Last week we shouted out the Twerk Museum in Atlanta. This week I want to shout out Chanel Hall. She runs the page Twerkology Nation. So if you're on Instagram, check out, give her a follow, Twerkology Nation, all spelled exactly how it sounds, twerk, OLOGY Nation. And she has been a front runner in terms of creating a virtual space for BIPOC people in the twerk industry, giving them their shine, spreading the real history about twerk on her platform. And she has been doing this for years, and I just love Chanel. And she's based over in Europe, okay? And let me tell you, the twerk industry and world in Europe is very different than it is here in the US. Very different. They deal with so many more race issues than we do here in terms of twerking, okay? And it's really wild over there. I've seen them deal with blackface in the twerk world, and I mean it's pretty heavy, but Chanel is incredible, and she is just a pioneer for twerk in Europe, and she's a fellow sister. Hello. So go give her a follow, Twerkology Nation. We love Chanel. We love you, girl. Thank you for all that you're doing in the twerk world. All right, so is there someone else I want to shout? Oh, I just want to shout because people have been asking me about these really awesome earrings that I have on, and I got them at a retreat, and I just wanted to shout out the vendor that I got them from. Okay, so the vendor is called J Cash Jewels, and I believe you could find them on Instagram. Absolutely, you can. So it's JCASH Jewels. All right, so give them a follow. She makes handmade earrings, jewelry, necklaces, rings, the whole 9 yards, and she's pretty incredible. So go ahead and give her a follow. Support Black businesses. Hello, let's go. J Cash Jewels. Okay. All right, so let's jump in now and talk about some of the buzz that's been going on the past 2 days. It's only been 2 days since the Super Bowl, so we're gonna get into it today. Let's talk Usher and Alicia Keys. So, for those of you who are completely living outside of the sports world, the Super Bowl happened on Sunday. And the Chiefs and the 49ers were playing. For the halftime show, it was Usher, hey! And let's talk about the show first, and then we'll talk about Alicia and Usher. But I thought the show was very well done. It's not easy to put on a halftime show. I mean, you know, you have about this like 15-ish minute slot, and it's in front of the world, you know, the world stage, and you want to play all of your hits. Usher Raymond gave us about 90 songs in 15 minutes. It was pretty spectacular. Now, the transitions between each song could have flowed a little better, in my very humble opinion. That was the only thing for me. Other than that, costuming, he had dancers on roller skates. I mean, the visuals. And here's the second thing that I'm gonna quote unquote complain about: the camera guy. All right, the camera crew, I felt they didn't do a great job of capturing the entire picture of what was happening in this performance, because he had a lot going on. It starts off with acrobats, people in handstands, all different kind of fanfare, feathers. But what I thought was missed was the band. Usher had an entire full-out band, and that we didn't really get to see a really great view of until a couple minutes before the end of it. So that's my tiny complaint about it, but I thought the performance was incredible. He really tried to give us all of his hits, and he has so many hits. I think that's what was nice to watch, very nostalgic, is that, you know, most of us 80s babies, we grew up with Usher, you know. And he has had so many hits that I even forgot about until he, you know, sang them and performed them at the Super Bowl. So kudos to you, Usher. What did you guys think of his performance? Yes, absolutely. He definitely made it look so easy. And to be fair, to give him a little, you know, he has had a Vegas residency, so he's well warmed up to performing. So it wasn't like he was coming out of retirement like Rihanna last year. She was coming out of retirement, she was pregnant. Usher has been in residency for a year in Vegas, so this was just like another day on stage for him. But yes, he definitely made it look so seamless and so easy, and I love it. So one of his guests that he brought out was Alicia Keys, and there's been so much talk about their interaction on stage. So here's what the buzz has been: that it was, you know, inappropriate because they're both married. I didn't know Usher was married, to be honest, because he'd been slanging and moving around like this since Kiki a couple months ago. So I actually didn't know that he was married. But, you know, he was doing his little touchy-feely thing, and, you know, little dance with Alicia Keys for their song, and people went crazy. They were just like, this is completely inappropriate. What is this saying to our kids? This is a family show. You know, people are always saying, oh my God, the Super Bowl's a family show. Put them kids to bed if you don't want them watching it, because there's gonna be some scandal. Tell me one year there wasn't something scandalous happening at the halftime show, from titties falling out to, you know, people on poles, J-Lo and Shakira. Every year there's a complaint about the Super Bowl. Oh, it's a family show. Okay, put the kids to bed, send them to read a book for 15 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. Let's talk about the art of the performance. It's a performance. It is art, right? And it's a shame that artists, I hope they don't feel this way, but they might, going into, this opportunity, feel like they have to tone themselves down to fit this very broad audience of family. And for that, I say parenting. All right, get your kids. You don't want them to see something on TV. This might be a little inappropriate. I don't know what's about to happen on the screen. Go in the bedroom for 10 minutes, and I'm sure that they won't care. All right, but I think we need to stop with this policing of artists on stage, because this is an art form that they're doing. All right, we don't like being policed in anything that we do, and the same goes for artists and creatives. Like, we want to be able to share our art form and give you guys our full expression of it without stress of offending. That's constantly a thing. Am I going to offend anyone with this performance, with this piece of poetry, with this dance, with this speech? It's like, come on, allow for that freedom of expression to really be free. All right, so the whole topic was, is this inappropriate? So here's my take on this. It's a performance. I don't think that Alicia Keys was blindsided by what he did. And guys, you guys can go and Google the clip. It's not that serious. He put his arm around her. They did a little rock. He didn't touch her anywhere inappropriately. No hands below the waist. Nothing like that. We're talking about a little bit of choreo. You're my friend. We've known each other for years. Nothing serious. So is this inappropriate? And my answer is, it's performance art. All right, I'm sure they were both aware what was going to happen. I'm sure that it was choreographed by either a movement coach or a choreographer. And I'm sure that they both consented to it, right? And so I say, let's drop the judgment on this. Swizz Beatz, Alicia Keys' husband, even the next day came out with a statement and said, hold up. Y'all not going to bring all this negativity to these two icons that just brought this incredible performance, right? We're not going to bring this negativity. I clearly have no qualms about this, and so you guys shouldn't either. So he shut that down within 24 hours, and I love that he did that, because sometimes, the other spouse, in a situation like this, the spouse sometimes stays quiet, so everyone continues to feed it. Oh, it was wrong, because you don't hear an official statement from the spouse, which you don't have to. But I'm glad that he did, to kind of like put that fire out and say, this is cool by me. So is it okay in performance art, to have these interactions without being deemed inappropriate? Right, so what do you guys think in the comments? I want to read some of these comments here. I agree completely. I think it was just entertainment. Absolutely. It was rehearsed. Exactly. I agree with what all of you are saying here. Usher is somebody's girl's work husband. I completely believe that, because Usher be all over the place. In his residency, he was... Okay, Usher was ushering. So I'm glad you guys agree, but it's nice to hear that too, that most people just thought it was part of the performance, right? So I wanted to briefly touch on another aspect of the Super Bowl, and it's going to segue into our topic of the day, which is about love, for Valentine's Day. And the topic is about, I know you guys are tired of hearing these names. Travis and Taylor, and the coach, Andy, the coach of the Redskins. The Chiefs. The Chiefs. And so there was an interaction that happened on the field. I'm a big sports girl. I love sports. I was a cheerleader in college and in high school only so I can have front row seats to every sports game. That was the only reason, not because I liked wearing short skirts. I was super self-conscious about my legs because they were super, super, super skinny and not toned at the time. So it had nothing to do with actually liking cheerleading. I hope my coaches are not listening. I only did it because I absolutely love the athleticism of sports, especially football. So Travis Kelce had an interaction with his coach that everyone is also talking about on the field. And apparently he got very angry. I believe this was before halftime, early on in the game, and he was very aggressive. He was in his coach's face. He pushed his coach. You could find the clip online on YouTube anywhere and see the actual interaction. And what I want to talk about is how would you feel being Taylor, having the status that she does, okay, whether we like her or not. Let's just talk about the facts. Having the status and the presence that she does, right, which is bigger than his, right? It is. How would you feel about your man doing something like that publicly? So that's what I want to talk about. Yes, I have my own feelings about what his interaction with the coach, but I more so want to talk about how do you feel with your man having this outward display of aggression in front of millions of people. That is inappropriate. It was inappropriate. Okay, so let's say this inappropriate display of aggression. Because then it kind of like, for me, what triggered in my head was, wow, does this happen behind closed doors? Like if he has no problem doing this in front of millions of people watching, then, and now this is not speaking to his character in his relationship at all, but these are the questions that come to mind when you see something like this and your partner's there at the game, watching you. It makes you think, does he have anger issues? Is this something normal for him to do, this display of aggression? And so, like, how would you guys feel sitting there watching that play out? I personally would be uncomfortable with that level of aggression. Just me personally, I think it's too much. And it has nothing to do with, playing, putting on any kind of fake persona or anything in front of people, or not being yourself. It's just, I think that level of aggression towards your coach it's kind of starts to say something about your personality and about our relationship, if you're doing that in public. So that was concerning for me. Let me check you. I don't know if you guys missed that. Yes, definitely red flags. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just checking the comments here to see what you guys thought as well. But exactly. So yeah, it just kind of brings up, and I feel like most women probably felt that in that moment, like, ooh, like, and I think that's again because of her presence and her her presence, who she is, her presence and her status and what she does. Most of her music is for young girls, and she has a huge female following. So for her to have her partner being this aggressive, I think a lot of them like flinched for a second, like, ooh, we didn't know the side of Travis. So yes, definitely, I thought it was out of line as well. Exactly. And I think you need to be mindful of that when you're when you're in the public eye, and especially if your partner has this particular brand, and it's a brand. She makes music for young women that's, women positive, that's, has this kind of certain kind of a feeling. That's her brand. So if you're going to be with someone like this, then I think it's just being mindful, being mindful and respectful that you're her partner. So how you present yourself is gonna, it's gonna not rub off, but it's gonna, air into her brand, right? So, that type of behavior prior to Super Bowl, I agree. She probably has already seen that side. Her face was looking a little slightly sour at the end when they were giving their, speech and the MVP awards. They were kept flashing, of course, to her face, and she was looking a little sour, a little disturbed, as I would be too. So, thought I would bring that up in regards to that. But our bigger topic for today, I want us to be about love. And I wanted to share with you guys one thing I've learned in love. And it's not just romantic love, it's just about love in general, self-love, friendship love, romantic love as well. Just the overall lesson that I've learned with love over the past 4 years. Since becoming a mom, this has become a very pertinent theme in my life, is let love lead. LLL. Let love lead. And for me, that started out with mothering. For the moms in the chat, you guys know, you already know. I don't have to explain too much. But mothering is a whole nother world, right? A whole nother beautiful, chaotic world. And it is really gonna toss you on your ass most of the time. And when you're starting to get up and feel comfortable again, it's gonna toss you again. Right? So it's this thing of this constant game and this constant roller coaster of emotions. And one thing that struck me, like when my son Rory was 2, was this thing just came to me, these 3 words, let love lead. And so I started to do that. And what does that mean? That love became the motive and the influence and the drive behind all of my decisions that I made in terms of mothering. So before I got angry, before I started wring the neck, I thought, am I letting love lead in what I'm about to say to this child? And it made a world of difference. Just checking yourself, just checking yourself with that question. Am I letting love lead? And it completely changed my approach to mothering. It drastically changed my patience level. I would always pray for patience. But when you pray for patience, that you're going to get situations that are going to challenge that, right? That's the only way to become more patient, is to be put in situations where you're going to have to exercise patience. So I started to just check myself before I had any interaction with my kids. Is this coming from a place of love? And again, it just changed the dynamic of how I approach mothering, how stressed I get. I get so much less stressed. Now, moms know the stress level is already at 5,000. So when I say less stress, I mean it's just down to 3,000. Okay, we're not talking down to 0. All right, we're naturally just in a constant state of stress and anxiety, and that's just kind of our flow. Once the baby's out, we're just like, whoop, I'm just in this constant state of stress and anxiety and Rory all the time. So, but coming from, it really helped me in my mothering, and then it also helped me a lot in my relationship as well. Checking myself. It was much harder to check myself in my relationship because I'm dealing with another adult. And so that's the thing, when you're dealing with kids, you have a little like soft side. You're like, oh, you're a child, you don't know any better, your brain is still growing, your cognitive skills are not really working that well, you're still like not all there, lots of screws are still missing. But when you're dealing with an adult, you're like, you know better, right? So for me, it was a lot harder to let love lead all the time, as much as I have done with mothering in my romantic relationships. But the same effect it has had is that it makes your approaches to thing different. You know, when you're coming from a place of love, when you're moving, initiating from a place of love rather than anger, rather than jealousy, rather than resentment, you know, those things put blockages on our hearts. You know, and they build up these walls in front of us. But when we're pushing forth and really trying to move from a place of love, things shift, right? And I like to say it always comes back to you. Any issue you have with anyone, come back to yourself, right? It always comes back to you. And it is about taking ownership with, what can I do? Rather than pointing the finger, oh, but you, what did I do? What is my responsibility in this situation? You know? So I always say, it always comes back to you. Yes, it's not about taking accountability away from the other person, but we have to hold ourselves accountable too, as well. And so one way that I do that is by checking myself. Am I leading with love, or have I led with love? And so I just wanted to share that with you guys, because it's been such a pivotal thing for me in just my self-evolution. And just even, so we talked about motherly love, romantic love, and then even self-love. Like, we have to lead with love for ourselves. Like, that's so crucial. We're the hardest on ourselves. So yes, we have to hold ourselves accountable, but in the same power that we hold ourselves accountable, we also need to push forward with love for ourselves. That same love that we give to our kids, that we give to our partners, we need to pour just as ferociously back into ourselves. So I just wanted to share that, because that little question, you know, try it out this week and see if it actually makes a difference for you. Whether you have kids, whether you have a partner, no partner, you know, whether you're dealing with your cats, your dogs, whatever you have, you know, or again, or even just with yourself. Am I leading with love? Okay. I'm going to check in the chat. Nurture, yes, definitely. All right, so we're gonna finish off as we always do. So for people who are tuning in or who will tune in on Apple Podcasts, we are gonna finish here, and I will see you all next Tuesday, same time, more fun things to talk about. Bye. But for everybody else who is staying, I'm gonna do the twerk tutorial, okay? So last week we did booty pop, and this week we're gonna do our booty bounce. So at the end of every podcast, I give you guys a twerk step. I have codified over 100 twerk steps. So, and by codified, I mean I have named them, not necessarily created them, but I have taken a movement and put the name to it, and put a name, my own name, created a name for it. Okay, so we have how many weeks in a year? 52 weeks in a year. You guys will get about 50, close to 50 twerk steps that you'll learn in a year. So again, you can always get a better full view of the podcast on our YouTube. So if it doesn't look that great on Instagram, that's fine. But go to our YouTube, Boss Chick Dance Workout, and you'll see a tab that says podcast. All of our podcasts are stored there. So finishing off, our step of the day is booty bounce. Okay, I'm gonna push this camera back just a little bit. All right, and so now a booty bounce is one of our fundamental twerk steps. We have five fundamental ways of moving the booty. And booty bounce is the second fundamental twerk step that we have, okay? This twerk step is almost the opposite of booty pop, all right? So I'll do a quick little review. What we did last week, we did booty pop, and I won't always do a review because then I'll end up doing like 30 steps by episode 30. But because we're only on the second one, let me move forward a little bit. I will give you guys a review. So we did booty pop, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That's the step that we learned last week, okay? Now we're gonna do booty bounce, all right? And the key with booty bounce is you're gonna imagine that your booty is a basketball, all right? And that you're bouncing it, all right? So booty's a basketball, we're bouncing the booty down. I don't have the best twerk shorts on for this, but we're gonna make it work, all right? Make sure your feet apart, hands on your knees in twerk position, and we're gonna, again, imagine the booty's a basketball, and we bounce, 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 bounce. I need some music up in here. Twerking in silence. Bounce, 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 bounce. All right, so that is our booty bounce. I'm gonna face the back too. I'm gonna have to pull off these the headset. All right, so I'll face the back as well and make sure you guys can see me. All right, so again, booty bounce. We're bouncing the booty like a basketball. We go bounce, bounce, bounce. Oh, y'all heard my hip crack. Bounce, 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 bounce. All right. So that's called booty bounce. I love that step. Each step I also tell you the benefits of the step because twerking has a lot of benefits hidden inside other than of course being super fun. So booty bounce, booty pop, as I told you last week, is great for loosening up your lower back, which we all need. They actually do booty pops in physical therapy, as I mentioned. They just don't call it booty pops, they call it pelvic tilts, all right? So it's just the flexion and extension of your lower back is great. You should do this every day. If you sit in the office all day long, your lower back is screaming for movement, okay? So you can just get on all fours to do that. It's a great way to do it on the floor to practice that, right? And then now for booty bounce, it can be more intense on your lower back. It is because it's a faster movement. So my suggestion for booty bounce, to practice booty bounce, is in dirty dog position, all right? This is gonna be difficult for you guys to see, so you have to go to the YouTube, okay? So dirty dog position, you're in all fours, almost like down dog, okay? Your palms are down, knees are bent. This is the best position to practice your booty bounce, okay? Free show. Feel free to drop those dollars in my Cash App. just kidding. Totally just kidding. All right, so that's the best position to practice your booty bounce. You're gonna be able to feel the vibration better. You have your heels almost as a little spring for resistance there. So similar to down dog, but just your knees are bent, all right? That's what we call dirty dog. All right, and that is it for today. Are there any questions? Awesome. All right, well, I will see you guys next week, same time, 5:30 p.m. on YouTube and on Instagram at Boss Chick Dance Workout. Bye, everyone.